What's cracking, cousin? It's your favorite cousin Ken here at the Lighthouse ATL. This is the Divine Feminine headquarters, and yes, this is your favorite cousin Ken from the YouTube channel Can Be the Light. I know many of you are like, Ken, where you been? What's been going on? Well, I took 3 years off from work to work on myself. So no relationship, no job, no business, no nothing. Just strictly working on myself. And I have been guided to come back and help a powerful community of women that are deciding to do the same thing. No longer working hard, releasing all toxicity from your life, and connecting to your true divine feminine identity. I will be here every week, every Monday, with spiritual guidance for you ladies. I'm so excited to work with you, and congratulations to the new you. Hey cousin, what's cracking? It's your favorite cousin Ken here at the Lighthouse ATL. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about becoming a feminine mother and being there for our children, because it is very important. We are responsible for nurturing humanity, and I am up actually in the middle of the night. I am up in the middle of the night, and it's crazy because this is how spirit works, but I normally wake up in the middle of the night and I will receive messages in the middle of the night. But this morning, actually, it's probably about, it's 3 a.m. So y'all already know that's Christ hour. So I know some people feel like that's dark time, but for me, that's Christ hour. So that's normally when I get up and I receive a lot of messages, or I get up and I can be up, cousin. All right. I can go downstairs and start cleaning up the kitchen. I can be up just doing whatever. And the whole world can be asleep, or, everybody in the house is asleep. And I'm just up like nothing happened. Okay. I don't need that much sleep anyway. So I normally just need a few hours. But this morning I got up and I was sitting here with my phone. And I was doing something on my phone, and then I just so happened to, go to TikTok, and I had uploaded a video. So I was looking to see, the comments and everything. So I got off of that, and then I came across a video talking about King Von. There was somebody who was talking about King Von and something that happened with him, or something that happened with him, some crazy story about him shooting some people or something like that. And it just made me get so emotional watching it. I'm gonna try not to cry because it's just sad for me, because I come from that lifestyle, and I know that like most of the dudes that I grew up with, it's so sad because they're not doing well. And I've not even lost, because I don't like to say I lost people, but I mean that's just what we say, right? But I can remember even in middle school, a lot of the young guys that I was hanging with at that time being killed and being caught up in the streets and stuff like that. And that was just normal. That was normal to be around guys that was in the streets. That was just what it was for me. And for my children to actually have to endure their father being gunned down and not having their father around, and my oldest son, his father is in prison. He's been in prison for a long time, and it's just the life that we come from, and it just makes me so sad because of course, I couldn't control the environment that I came up in. And I know that my mother did the best that she could, but y'all know I'm from Kansas City, but that's just not a place where you go to and you thrive and you just become successful. Kansas City is a place where you just go and you just survive. You just make it. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, Kansas City is like most hoods in the world, where it's like you don't really have a role model to look up to. You don't have nobody to inspire you to be great. You don't have anybody that's showing you the way, that's giving you information. Now we live in a different age where we can get online and we can get a lot of information online. But when I was growing up, I never saw a person that made me feel like, oh, I want to be like them one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just wasn't even in my mind. I was always thinking about just surviving. I can remember as a child just thinking about, like, where would I go if I didn't have no place to stay? Like, riding down the street in a car and be like, oh, that would be a good place to go if I didn't have a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the things that I would think about. I wasn't thinking about my life and my future. I never thought about my future. And I know that there's a lot of people out there in the world who feel like that, like they just don't think about their future. And it's so easy to look down on other people and say, you know, they need to get up on their feet. They need to do better in their life. They need to stop smoking. They need to stop drinking. They need to get a job. They need to apply themselves. They need to do better. But when you don't even have that mentality, you don't even think like that. I'm telling you, you just don't even think like that. And it's just sad, you know. I feel like it's going to change. I know that it's going to change because the world is changing. It has to change. The people at the bottom can't stay at the bottom forever. We had our time, you know, being at the bottom, but now it's time for us to rise up. And those of us who are helping other people to rise, then, you know, it's time for us to stand up. But I was thinking about King Von and what happened with his situation. And it really made me very emotional because it's very similar to the same thing that a lot of people are going through, a lot of men are going through in my community and in many hoods across America and the world. And I was thinking about my sons because they don't have their fathers there for them, but they're doing so well. But I remember when we were in Kansas City how they were. They were very different. My oldest son was very different. My youngest son was very aggressive. He would fight all the time. I was always in and out of schools, you know, trying to find him a different school to go to because he was always getting suspended or all these different things was going on with him. And my daughter even was struggling in school and struggling with herself and feeling bad and all these different things that she was going through. And I didn't know why she was going through all those things. I was working every day. I was taking care of them. I made sure they had everything they needed because in my mind, I just felt like I never wanted them to go without. So if I could keep the lights on, I can keep the gas on, the water on, I can keep the bills paid, then I felt like I was doing a good job as a mother. I was making sure that they ate every day. They never had to go through the things that I went through. So I felt like I was a good parent, but I wasn't a good parent. I wasn't a good parent to them because I wasn't there for them. And I look back at it now and I see that that was the issue with my children. They were struggling because they didn't have a mother there to nurture them. They didn't have me there physically with them, like how I'm here with them now. They didn't have me there. I was not in their life like that, even though I was there with them every single day. They spent most of their day at school, and I spent my time at work. And so it was a routine for years where I would get off from work, probably like 5 o'clock, because I worked in a hospital or I worked in a clinic. So, you know, when the clinics closed at 5, I would get off, and my children normally stayed at extended day. So I would pick them up from extended day, probably about 6, come home, you know, have them sit down, do their homework. They'll go outside and play for a minute. I'll go cook. Then they'll come home, take a shower, eat, and we go to sleep. That's how most women are raising their children in the world. That's how most women are taking care of their children. But that is not nurturing them. Because I know, like speaking from my own experience, I didn't have time for my children. I was tired. When they would come to me with their issues and their problems and things that they were going through, and I would tell them it's going to be okay. We just going to go to church. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking like me just taking them to church was helping them. They needed to just go to Bible study and pray about things and it's going to be okay. No. And I'm so thankful and grateful to the creator, my Father, the Spirit of all, that, look, I ain't gonna cry now. I'm thankful that my life has changed because I started to heal myself. I started to focus on myself. I started to make some really tough decisions in my life, and my life began to change. So the first thing I did, some of you know, but some of you don't. The first thing I did was I decided that I was going to be single. I was going to be by myself. I was not going to be with their dad anymore, even though we was together since I was 19 years old. That was very hard for me, but I knew that we were growing apart. And that's just all it was to it. We just grew apart. And it was time for that decision to be made. So I did what I had to do. And that was in like probably 2017, 2018. And then the next year after that, I decided that I wasn't going to work on a 9-to-5 job anymore. I was going to start working for myself. I was going to take care of myself. And so I started to do that. That's when I started my YouTube channel. But before that, I was a life insurance agent. I did real estate, flipped houses. I did all kind of different things, just trying to make money, just trying to take care of my children because I knew I didn't want to work on a job. It was just like something went off in me one day and I was just like, I can't work no more. I just can't work no more. And I just really started to focus in on myself. Now, my children were still going through the things that they were going through, but I was still making moves for myself. And every time, cousin, that I started to make moves for myself to improve my life, I started to be more and more free and available for my children. I had more time for them. I was able to recognize that they needed me. I was able to tell them like different things that I was learning about life because I actually started to learn. I actually started to pay attention to spirit. And I am very much spirit-led. So I know that some people feel like you need elders, you need mentors, you need somebody to teach you and show you the way. But that wasn't my experience. That isn't my experience. Because I know that my creator, spirit, tells me everything I need to know about me. Everything I need to know about life. Everything that I need to know, that information is given to me whenever I listen. And the more I listen and the more I follow that voice within, then it becomes so clear what it is that I need to do. And I know that that's the issue for most women. That is our issue. We know what we need to do, but we're not moving. We're not taking the steps. And it's costing our children their lives. And a lot of these, young men in the street, a lot of them have mommy issues. They got mommy issues. These girls out here that are doing all the things that they're doing, they have mommy issues. They don't have, listen, I'm not even going to talk about the dad right now because we know that we have a whole generation of men that have failed us. We know that. And we have had to pick up the torch and carry it and provide for ourselves and for our children. So we know that the men haven't been there. And I believe that they are going to stand up. They will. But we're not talking about them. We can't put the blame on them because I know that it can be done even if a man is not present because I'm doing it now. I'm doing it right now. Every day I wake up, it's just peace in my home. I don't have to argue with nobody. I don't have to answer to nobody. The only thing I have to do is continue to be a better me. And that's all that my creator asked me to do. And everything else is provided for me. But most women don't know that. We believe that we have to work hard. We've been told that you need to go to work and work hard. And we believe it. And that takes us away from our children. We don't have time for ourselves. We don't even have time or money. Most women don't even have the money to do the things that they want to do for themselves. But you work every day. That's how you know that something needs to change. And I'm not going to tell you to just walk off your job like I did, because that may not be your path. But I do believe that every woman has value. And there's something that you can do right now to begin your transformation journey. It's so important. You changing and becoming a better you is not just about you. If you have children, they are depending on you to change. If you don't change the way that you eat, the way that you live, the way that you think, the way that you do things, then guess what? Your children are going to do what you're doing. They're not listening to what you're saying. They're watching you. If they see you out here looking for attention from a man, then guess what your daughters are going to be doing? If your sons feel like, you know what? Dang, my mama, man, she don't never have it. She don't never got nothing. She don't never got no money. She's tired all the time. You know, a lot of these men, they love their mama so much. But if they were honest with themselves, they would know that, look, their mama didn't give them what they needed. But they'll say the same thing that I say, like, our parents did the best that they can do. That's what they did, right? They did the best that they can do, but we still got to be honest on our path. That's the only way to heal. We got to be honest. And as women, we have to take responsibility for our role in what is happening in humanity, with these children. They need us to be there. So me coming back and me being guided to come back and help women to transform their lives and to become better. This is what God told me to do. This is my assignment. So every time you hear me say, join the spiritual alignment class, let's level up, let's get it together, let's do what we're going to do for ourselves. Women, let's focus on ourselves. I know it may sound like it's a good idea, but I'm telling you that if you don't, life doesn't get better for anybody. Because life begins with us. Life begins with the woman. Well, actually, the man holds the life. He put the life in you. But I'm saying, you give birth to it. You see what I'm saying? So, when you bring a child into the world, or when we bring children into the world, then we have to be there to nurture the baby. And I'll say, even for myself, like when I had babies, when my babies were young, now my children are grown now, or just about grown, but when they were babies, I didn't have time. I had no time. I had to go to work. All of my children were back in daycare. When that 6 weeks was up, they were back in daycare. I needed to go back to work. I was in college with 2 of my children. I had 2 degrees by the time, I had my first degree when I was 23. And then I got a second degree right after that, my bachelor's, because I felt like that's what I needed to do. I have done it all, I'm telling you. I needed to get a better job. So I went back to school. And then I learned that I can go back to school 50,000 times. It doesn't matter how many times I go back to school. I'm not going to make no more money. And I'm just going to be working more and more harder. You go back to school and you get this degree. It's like, you can make a little bit more money, but it's not worth it. Because now you still have to go to work more. And like, I could have been a project manager and supervisor and manager of companies and stuff like that. But I seen how the managers work. The women had to work all day long. And most of them were salary. So it's like, you're going to get paid the same amount regardless if you work overtime or not. I didn't want to do that. I remember my supervisor asking me, like, Ken, like, because I was always cool with my supervisors. They was like, what you want to do? Like, do you want to get another position? You want to move to this other position? I was like, no, I don't. Even though I know that I could have played the whole corporate game and did all of that. But I was like, no, I'd rather make less money and have less responsibility. I took my business degree and I started to go into business for myself. I don't want to play the corporate game because that's all it is a game. And you can't pay me to take my time away from my children no more. That's not happening. You cannot pay me to not focus on myself anymore. I know countless women that know that they're supposed to be making a doctor's appointment, going to take care of yourself, or take care of themselves, and they say that they don't have time. They got to go to work. They got time to go to work, but they don't have time to take care of themselves. They know that they're tired, but they don't have time to take a day off. They can't afford to take a day off. It's this slavery mentality. And then our children are just turned into the streets. They are turned to the streets. And that's where a lot of these young dudes, they losing their life out here. Because it's like they don't have that woman there. Because I know I saved my sons. I saved them. First of all, I moved away from that environment. That's the first thing I did for my sons. And it's like when we moved to Georgia, like everything just changed for us. It just changed. Like being down here, and I know that, not everybody likes the country lifestyle, but just having so many trees down here and being by the mountain, we can go to the mountain anytime we want. They have so many opportunities down here. And even the people are nicer than being around people who live in the city. You see what I'm saying? So if you feel like you are being guided to move, then move. Do it. Take the risk. And if you can't do it today, that's fine. You got your whole lifetime, okay? But you can plan. Plan it now. Because you are saving your children. If you know that you live in an environment that is not the best, then what are you going to do? A lot of us think about what we're giving up, but we're not thinking about what we're going to be gaining. How life is going to change. My sons came down here, and I'm telling you, it's like night and day. No more trouble. No more phone calls from school. No, I'm not getting any of that. None of it. My oldest son completely moved out. Okay? He's making more money at 20 years old than some adults are making. And he's not in the streets. That was my big thing. Like for my sons, I just didn't want them to be in the streets. I just didn't. I did not want my sons to have to turn to selling drugs because I knew if we stayed where we was at, that's what they were going to do. Because there's no jobs. Like in Kansas City, there's no real good jobs. So I knew that that's what they were going to do. And I know that that's the path that probably 90% of the men are taking. When you live in the city, it's like, what else do you do? They don't want to work at no Family Dollar, McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? Church Chicken, Walgreens. That's all you see? Working at the corner store. They not about to do that. No, they're not. And nowadays, the streets are so crazy. It's like, oh my God. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. There's no loyalty. There's no code. There's nothing. Like anything goes. It's vicious. And I just don't want that for my sons. So even when I talk to my oldest son, I talk to his dad. He's in prison. Well, we don't talk that often, but when we do, he's always talking about how proud he is of our son. Like, he's proud of him. I'm proud of him because he's taking care of himself. But I was able to teach him the things that I learned, and I was able to teach him how to save money. I was able to teach him how to go out there and buy his own car. He bought his own car. I didn't buy his first car. I could have helped him, but I want him to figure it out on his own. I didn't show him how to get his apartment and all that stuff, but I can remember when we moved down here, when he got to a certain age, when he graduated from high school, because he graduated when we got down here, I was teaching him how to make his own appointments, how to, save your money up, what is going to be your plan. Get your journal out. Get your booklet out. Write down what it is that you want to do. I started having him to think about certain things and execute on what you say you're going to do. And then when he would do certain things that were good for him, baby, he got all the praise from me. You hear me? Listen. And my oldest son, he's a Taurus, okay? He loved that. So I would be like, oh, you doing so good, Sean. I'm so proud of you. Look at you. You growing up and being a grown man, just stroking his ego, okay? He out there like, I can do whatever I want. Yeah. I got time for him. And my youngest son, he's the same way. Anytime he does something good, you're doing a good job. I'm so proud of you. Whatever they need me for, I'm right there. My son yesterday, he called me from school yesterday. Mom, I fell. I scratched up my ankle and I scratched up my this and that. Can you come pick me up? Now, it's 2 o'clock? Because I just dropped my daughter off at work. I just dropped her off. So he called me and he's like, Mom, can you come pick me up? And I'm thinking like it's real bad, right? Like he scratched himself real bad. Because listen, sidebar, Daniel was known for hurting himself, okay? But I get up to the school, right, to pick him up. Now, mind you, I have the time. So I drop off one child on one side of town at work, and then I go over and pick him up. And I'm like, let me see what's going on with you when I get there. He's smiling. He's so happy. I said, boy, what you smiling for? You supposed to be hurt. But I know, he's just happy because he knows that if he call me, I'm going to be there. That's what they need. They need us to be there and not be so occupied with how we feel and our drama and our hurt and our sadness and everything that we're going through that we can't be there for them. That's what they need. And I know so many young people, they don't have parents that are there for them. They don't understand them. My daughter's a senior, and when I hear her talk about what her friends are going through with their parents, it's so sad. It's so sad because it's like the parents forget that they were 17 at one point in life. A lot of times we forget. And it's so important to treat them like young people. They have their own identity. They have their own things that they're going through, and they just need support. They don't need our judgment. They don't need us pushing our ways on them. No, they just need support and guidance and boundaries. That's all they need. But a lot of times parents, we don't understand that, especially mothers, because we want our children to be a certain type of way. And then when they start to have their own identity, they start doing certain things. It's just like, now we feel like something wrong with them. What's wrong with you? I didn't raise you like that. But they really are just becoming who they want to be. And we have to give them the space to do that. We cannot raise our teenage children the same way we raised our 5-year-olds. Because the thing is, they'll get to a certain point and they will need to be independent, and they don't know how. They don't know how to take care of themselves. My daughter right now, she's paying her own phone bill. She's taking care of herself right now before she graduates. Because I want her to understand that when you graduate, you're not on your own, but you are responsible for yourself. Don't ask me to buy you no shoes after you graduate. And as a matter of fact, she don't ask me now. Why am I buying your shoes? Can you work? Well, get a job. I don't care what you think I can do for you. If you want to work with me, then you can. If you want to go work for somebody else, you can. It don't matter. But get your own money. Take care of yourself. And she does that. My son, he does that. But they have to be shown this. They have to be taught. But if we're expecting for the school and for the world to raise our children, they're in danger. They are in danger. And more of these boys are going to get up and grow up and become men that are not developed. They don't have enough love. They haven't been loved properly. So they don't know how to love anybody else. And they have to learn it. Not to say that they can't learn, but I'm just saying it's different when you have the guidance from a mother to teach you how to be sensitive. That's important. So my sons, they are very, strong and, they do their own thing. And I told you they are ambitious and do their own thing, but they're still sensitive. They so hard, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these men, they be trying to be hard, and it's like, it's just not even necessary. Sometimes you need to be, but not all the time. And for our daughters, they could be too soft, too gullible, not thinking. And you got to teach them how to be stronger. But how can you do that if you're not doing the work on yourself? So that's the message today. It's time for us to not only become more feminine, but nurturing to ourselves. Let's practice nurturing ourselves, because as we practice nurturing ourselves, then we can nurture our children properly. It's so important. And it's not about money. It's not about money. I'm telling you. They will not remember none of those Christmas gifts. They will not remember none of that milk money, lunch money, none of that money that you are paying for the bills or the phone or none of that stuff that you're buying them. They will not remember it. But I promise you, when you transform your life and they see how you are losing weight, eating healthy, being more available, calmer, focused, they will notice that. They will pay attention to you. My children, they tell me, Mama, I'm proud of you. Not because I got another degree. Not because I'm making a large amount of money. Mama, you making so much money. No. They think I have so much money, but it ain't even about the money. It's like, listen, they are focusing on what I'm doing. They see me. They're like, Mama, you doing your thing. Like my daughter say, Mama, you doing your big one. You doing your big one. She's the one who told me, like, Mama, if you don't quit that job, if you don't stop working on that job, you'll never know what you can do. Because I asked her, I said, Dobby, do you think I should quit my job? This was back in 2019? Because I was so tired. She was probably like 9 years old. We were sitting in the car, getting ready to go in the grocery store after I picked her up and everything from school. I said, I'm thinking about not working anymore. She told me, she said, Mommy, you never know what you can do if you don't try. And I follow her advice. Her little 9-year-old self. My children have been angels in my life. They are very special. Very special. My son, my youngest son, he's the one who told me I was going to be a YouTuber. My children are, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And your children could be the same way, guiding you and telling you things. Because Spirit can send you messages through a child. But if we just feel like, oh, you're just a child, you don't know, you need to stay in your place, you don't know nothing, then we can miss out on a lot of lessons, because children teach us the greatest lessons. They teach us so much about ourselves. And a lot of times when our children are acting out and they're doing certain things, that's a red flag for us to change, not them. I had to learn that, because I was thinking, like, when I was younger, a young parent, I was thinking that they needed to change. You need to get your act together. You need to do this. You need to do that. No, they don't. They need me to change and make some adjustments so that I can learn how to parent them through this. And not yelling at them for everything that they do. Not putting my hands on them because they did something I didn't like. I think that's the craziest thing in the world that we've ever learned, is hitting on a child because the child's not listening. It's like, what? First of all, this child cannot fight you back. So that's just weak in itself. Second of all, it's not effective. And I learned that because I used to be the one, because I was raised like that. Spirit of ride, spoiled child. I was raised like that. So I was the same way with my son and with my children. But my youngest son, he don't care nothing about getting hit. He don't care. When he was doing his big one, when he was acting a fool at school, he did not care about no trouble. He didn't care about that. So I had to figure out a way to discipline him that in a way that I knew was going to be effective. I had to learn how to be a parent. And if we don't have time or patience, the only thing we know is yelling at them or putting our hands on them, or putting them out in the street. Get out my house. I don't want to deal with you. No. We have to learn how to discipline. Because when you know your child, you know how to discipline your child. Because every child will respond to something different. Every child won't respond the same way. So if I take my son's phone, I know that he's not going to like that. Like most teenagers, they don't like that. Like, don't take that phone. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is take the phone. And when you take all those electronics from them and they don't have all those games and laptops and all that stuff, you will be so surprised how they change. But we can't discipline them and then not be available to correct them. Not have the patience to sit down and talk to them and explain to them. We have to explain to them, this is what I expect. This is what you're doing. If you continue to do this, then this is going to happen. I always teach my children about making decisions. I let them know these decisions that you're making, it's affecting your life this way. So they'll know that, if I want my life to change, then I need to make different choices. And they're learning that now. So that when they're adults, they'll be fully aware that everything that is happening in their life is because they're making it happen. If we can learn that, and if we can teach our children that at a young age, then they won't be out here in the streets. They won't even think about it. Because they're like, no, I'm not going to go do that. Because if I go out and kill somebody or go out and sell drugs, then I can end up in prison. I don't want to go to prison with Damon. No. I'm going to do the right thing so that I can get my money. Like my children, they like money. So, okay, if you like money, then go get it. But this is how you do it. And then when you get it, this is what you need to do with it. What are your goals? Do you just want to have money just to have it? Or what do you want to do with it? My daughter right now, she's saving it for her car. She's like, I want to get a car. Okay, Diamond, if you want to get a car, what kind of car do you want? What color car do you want? How much does it cost? Don't just say you want to get a car, because you can have a car, but be specific. What do you want? How are you going to make this happen? Because if you just said, I want this, I want this, I want that, that's not going to get it. But I did the same thing with my oldest son. He said, Mama, I want to save up money so that I can get a car. Okay. How much do you need? What kind of car do you want? Now, I told you my son is a Taurus. He done went out and got him a little Lexus. I said, boy, why did you go get this car? Why did you get this car? But you can't tell no Taurus nothing. He got to flash. He got to be fly out here. I said, I guess. That was his first car. Now, I think he got another car now, but yeah, his very first car was a Lexus. I said, boy, I wish. My first car, listen, I paid $600 for my first car. And that car caught on fire on the highway. My very first car. I didn't know a thing. Listen, I went to one of them buy now, buy here, pay here, whatever cash card places. Mm-mm. Listen, I had to tell my children, don't even try that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because you're going to waste your money. Don't even do it. But I didn't have nobody to tell me that. I just wanted to get a car. I need to get off the bus and get out of the streets. I need to get me a little car. But I had to learn. And, we teach our children from our experience, and that's a beautiful thing. But the more we grow, the more experiences we have, the more we can pour into them. So now I'm teaching my children so much more. Things that I never learned in school, things that I never learned from working on a job, things I never learned from somebody telling me. Because when Spirit is guiding you from within, you know things that even people that you feel like should know, the elders should know, you know things that they don't know. So it's not even about the age. You know what I'm saying? So being spiritually connected is so important. And we learn how to be spiritually connected by first just loving ourselves enough to take the time out to nurture ourselves. That's rule number 1. That's spirituality 101. Start nurturing yourself and see how you become more spiritually connected. How things start to be clear for you, because we're all born into darkness. So we all come into this world and we don't have a clue. We have no clue. We have no idea who we are, what we came here to do, nothing. All we know is what our parents have taught us. That's it. But then we have to find our way. And the only way we do that is by nurturing ourselves, paying attention to ourselves, and being unapologetic about it. And women, it's time for us to do this. I know that most of us want to be in a relationship. You want to get a man and all of that. But that doesn't take priority over you. Being in a relationship and being with a man and you're spiritually disconnected, that's a disaster. And that's why a lot of women, they're not in successful relationships, because your creator is not going to allow you to put a man before him. We learned that from our mothers in previous generations. They put the man first. You don't put the man first. You put his creator first, your creator first. And then the creator will partner you with the person that's best for you. That's why they say who God put together, let no man put us under. Because God is going to put you together with your partner. You don't have to go out here and find somebody. You don't have to be walking around, dressing up and trying to get somebody's attention. You don't have to do that. Because all you're going to do is attract another lesson. So, it's like, don't even waste your time. It's better to just get your life right, get your mind right, get your body right, get yourself healed, get yourself to a place where you are stable mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and then get into a relationship with somebody and make it last. Because you're going to attract somebody to you that is at the same level that you're at. You're never going to attract a man into your life that is at a higher level than you are. It just doesn't work like that. This is not Pretty Woman. Okay? You're going to attract the man that is on your level, and he's going to treat you the way you treat yourself. So if you don't have time for yourself, he's not going to have time for you. If you neglect yourself, he's going to neglect you. If you have negative self-talk, he's going to talk down to you. And it's the same thing in your friendships. It's the same thing with your family, because as within, so without. However you treat yourself, your soulmates, which is every person that you encounter in your life, they're going to reflect it back to you. And it's not so that we can judge them. is so that we can look at ourselves. They are mirroring to us who we are. So if you have people that are not taking you seriously in your life and you want to be taken serious, then you probably should start taking yourself more serious. Life becomes so much better and it's so much easier to understand when we see everything as a reflection. So it's like being here on earth is a mirror to what's in the spirit. But it's like flipped, right? It's flipped. So we have to flip everything. It's like playing these games. You have to learn how to play these games, mind games. Because if you don't, then you're going to lose the game of life. I'm just saying. Some people go through their whole entire life and they don't feel successful. They don't feel healthy. They don't feel happy. They feel like this is just the way it is. No, it's not. You have the control. You have the control. Once you learn how to control yourself, once you learn how to control your mind, and controlling your mind is being still and quiet and relaxing, being able to get yourself in a state where you can relax. Because if you don't learn how to relax and become still and aware, then you just go through life on repeat every day. Same thing, every day, repeat. And that's not living. Living is growth. It's evolving. So that's why I say when we're spiritually connecting and evolving, things like that, it's not just something cute to say. Everything on this planet should be growing. And that includes us. We should be growing the most because we have the greatest responsibility. So every year, we should become a greater version of ourselves. We shouldn't just turn another number and think that that's evolving. We're getting older. We're growing just because we turned another number. That's not true. You're only growing if you actually are making change, progress. That's how spirit sees it. Spirituality is different. This is not religion. This is not repeat. This is not recite and repeat. No. This is learn. Get the lesson and improve. Show yourself approved. That's what God wants to see. For his children, for his that he created, he wants to see us evolve. And God takes pleasure in our prosperity. And when we do well and when we're growing, it's just like a father. You can have anything you want. You can have anything you want. When you have a child that is doing well, you would give that child anything. You want them to have everything. So if there are things missing in your life and you feel like you want more out of life, you can have those things. You just have to elevate to that level. And we have to open our heart to do that. Allow that Christ consciousness to fill you so that you can release the past, the hurt, the bitterness, the pain, the abuse, and all those things that you've been through in your life. And you can stop being mad every day. And know that you are being loved. You are loved. No matter what you've been through, you are loved. I know it's hard to believe, but you are loved. And everything that we experience, it happens for our growth. It is so that we can develop. That's how we develop here. It's just the way it is for now. But God wants to prosper you. Your Father, your Creator, the All, wants to take care of you. Mother Nature, Mother Universe wants to nurture you. You have support. It may not come from your parents. It may not come from your man or your friends or the people in your life. But you do have support. And I'm here to support you too. You know I love you, cousin, because I'm up in the middle of the night talking. I love you so much. And I want you to know that you do have support. On your journey, you're not alone. And if you feel like you want to make change in your life, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, or you're on your journey and you actually are making change, you're making progress, and you want support, join the family at the Lighthouse, because we're going to work together. We're going to work through life together. It's so much better when you have community. And I just believe that the Lighthouse is a place of refuge for women who want support, who want to be better, who want to make the world better. But we make the world better by making our world better. We change the world by changing our world, changing who we are and becoming better, and getting to know who we are, taking time away from everybody and everything else, and being very selfish for a little bit so that you can get to know who you are and what you like and what you want, so that you can have it all. Because I promise you, your creator, the source of your life, wants to give you everything. And you don't have to work hard for it. You just have to be obedient. You just have to listen to the voice of spirit that is always guiding you within, to help you to become the greatest woman, not only for you, but for your children, for your man, for the community, for the world, Craig, for everybody. When women rise, we rise humanity. We raise humanity. Yeah. When women rise, we raise humanity. It's so true. And I just believe that as each one of us evolve and become better, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we're making the world better. And the men will follow, believe it or not, because let me tell you something. Most of the time, men, everything that they do is for a woman. They do. They do it for us. They do. And if they see that we're moving different, we're nurturing ourselves, we're loving ourselves, they have no choice but to fall in line and start to nurture themselves and start to love themselves and start to heal themselves. And then we can have healthy relationships. But I believe that the men, listen, they will follow us, women. They will follow us. They will. I just believe it. Okay. I love you so much, and I'll see you all over at the Lighthouse. Bye. Hey, cousin. If you're interested in joining our powerful community of women supporting each other through our healing and transformation journey, make sure that you look for the Lighthouse ATL on all social media platforms. YouTube, TikTok, not on Instagram, but Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere else. Look for the Lighthouse ATL, okay? You do not have to do it on your own. We are done with these solo dolo missions, okay? We're going to work together. We are going to heal together. We're going to cry together. We're going to laugh together. We're going to travel together. Listen, join our level up movement, and I will see you soon. Bye.